I just finished reading this book. Not in my usual library. I'm in Eastbourne by the sea, as you can see. Beautiful place, and yeah, it's a really good book. One thing it does remind me of is the character from reading the first chapter was pretty like in your face, and one thing it reminded me of like in the first chapter was the character of Tyler Durden from Fight Club, and his kind of ideology, because what it is it's not that he doesn't give an F, it's the fact that he does care about something, but it's just not like what everyone else cares about. Like, you're not your job or how much money you have in the bank, or advertising has us saying we have to one day we're going to be millionaires and movie stars and rock gods, but we're not, and we're annoyed about that. And basically just talking about how, well, it's kind of like society consumerism, and how that fuels how people behave. Now, it's not to say that those things you can't strive for them, but when it's like your main purpose, it's kind of like, well, as opposed to you're majoring in minors rather than you're minoring in majors, majoring in minors. So with this, what I found was it's more about knowing what you want and being focused on that, rather than focused on silly things like that aren't that important. Like, no matter what, go for what you want, rather than trying to conform to what other people want, or what society wants, or you care too much about like what other people think, or what societal norms are, and you basically give a F about things that aren't important, and the things that are important that you're not really that focused on. So the book itself is really about that, and I really enjoyed it. It's like the first chapter is actually one of the most entertaining chapters I've read in any book. It's like ain't for the faint of heart though, because like if you haven't got like if you're ultra sensitive, it's better than a lot of these other self-help books, because subtitle is the counterintuitive approach to living a good life. So it's about how you can live a good life on your terms, not so much about how you live a good life according to a lot of these self-help gurus. There's a lot of them out there, and it does say there's a chapter in the book that talks about that actually, where it talks about like you're kind of living for you live it in this false sense of everything's positive, and actually have to acknowledge things that aren't positive in your life, but don't be driven by like emotions as well, like emotional highs. Like a lot of people, like they said, there's a chapter in it that talks about relationships, and it says how like a lot of people are in relationships because they want that emotional high, but they're not in it because they really care about the other person. So it's more about, even though they might care, they don't really care. It's more about what are they giving for me now, or what can I do for them, as opposed to just appreciating two people for who they are. So I thought that was interesting. There was an interesting chapter on death as well, and it was kind of about like realizing the mortality that we all have. And the author talks about an experience he had where he lost I think it was a good friend that he lost, and how it changed his perspective, because he was a bit of a stoner, and he grew up in a privileged family. There's a lot of things he didn't appreciate, but it kind of changed his perspective. The death of I think it was his friend, I can't remember now, but yeah, it was a really good book, man, really good. I love the kind of brashness, the language in the book. It's very crude, there's a lot of swearing in it. He uses the F-bomb a lot, but it's to hammer a point. It's great marketing as well. Obviously it gets people's attention. This is like a best-selling book, New York Times bestseller, as you can see there. But it's it's great marketing, but it's also to get your attention. And saw an interview with the author, and he said like when he was writing the book, he was like, he was going to call it something to do with wisdom, like the art of wisdom or something like that, but he knew no one would buy it, so that's why he decided to call it this. and the message is quite hard hitting, but I think sometimes you need that just to kind of shake you out of you kind of listen to the message, and pay attention. So it was really good marketing on his part, but the way it's written is very conversational, like you're even reading sentences and he's like kind of, it's almost like he's talking to you. He's like, oh, do I give an F about this? Do you even give an F about me writing these words that you hear me saying now, or are you just listening to something else? It's really written in an intelligent kind of social way, so it's a really entertaining book. Definitely recommend it. One of the best books. Well, this is on my top list of books actually now. So yeah, The Art of Not Giving a F, I'll give this a 5 out of 5. Definitely purchase that. Really worth picking up, by Mark Manson. Very entertaining book, but on the other side of the entertainment, it's very much about how you can live an authentic life for yourself and be true to things that are important to you, and when the main essence of it is basically there are things that you need to give an F about, and to not give an F about other things that aren't important, so for you that might be your kids, or it might be your spouse, or it might be your career, or whatever it is, or a hobby that you do, or something you're passionate about. To give a F about that, and to not let the ups and downs of that get you down, and to just, in the mind, like he says, there's the mind, like Sherlock Holmes said in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's books, the mind is like an attic. I don't want it to get full. It gets full, so I don't want to fill it with useless information. The character Sherlock Holmes said in the Sherlock Holmes series of books, and that's quite true. So a lot of people like minor and little things, like what celebrities doing and this, that, they're wearing the latest fashion and all this kind of stuff, and it kind of reminded me of Mark Zuckerberg, like the founder of Facebook. The fact that his fashion isn't, he used to wear the same like white t-shirts, or plain t-shirts all the time. Never used to wear suits or anything like that. He'd even go to business meetings with venture capitalists in these t-shirts, plain t-shirts. He wasn't really making an effort with his outward appearance. But one thing he said that he read from a scientist is that every action that he takes that puts energy into something else takes energy away from something else. So it's kind of like every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So if he's gonna spend time on fashion, it's gonna take time away from his business. So that's why he chose not to kind of dress up and focus on his fashion. So I thought that was really cool. So like Zuckerberg didn't give an F about fashion, but he gave an F about Facebook, so that's why he built it to like this multi-billion-dollar company. That's why it's like the biggest social network in the world. Is something he really cared about. So whatever that is for you, comment below, let me know, what do you give an F about, and what in the rest of the stuff, like, you need to practice the subtle art of not giving an F about. It doesn't matter. Little boy's crying, so obviously they give an F about their son crying, but there's other things that you don't need to really care about, like what people who don't really care about you. You don't need to be fussed about what they think about you. What I mean? What's important is what you think of yourself firstly, and obviously the people closest to you, you want a good relationship with those people. But at the same time, there's a lot of good stuff in the book about that as well, about closeness, even people you have a close relationship with. Like I said, like not only romantic partners, but also your parents, also your friends. Like, be careful not to make it this codependent relationship where you're just in it to make each other feel good. Because what true love is, what he argues, what true love is like you accepting the flaws, and this is something I really believe as well. You accept the flaws as well as the victories of your friends, your family, your romantic partners, but you love them anyway, so you're not in it for something else, and a lot of us want that validation, or we want that good feeling that we get from somebody else, and I thought that was really important to kind of look at when you're giving an F about certain things, you know. It's like he said, like, well, in relationships you're gonna have conflicts, you're gonna have arguments, you're gonna have disagreements, you're gonna have times where you clash, but it's not that just makes you derail and go, oh, now I'm not feeling good, I need to leave the relationship. It's more about, okay, you know, do I really care about this person, and do I care about myself, that I'm not really that fussed about what they're doing, you know. It's not letting that affect me. There's certain things that you need to give an F about, and certain things that you don't need to give an F about. But check out the book, definitely check it out, it's worth reading. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and like I said, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you do give an F about and what you don't give an F about. Well, forget the don't give an Fs, everything else is what you don't give an F about, but you know, what you do give an F about, you know. And on another note, it's always good I'm taking a little thinking vacation or holiday. I like to do this like every month, just go away somewhere random, you know. I just pick it at the last minute, somewhere in the UK, somewhere I can just go away quickly for 2 days, you know, get away from London, the hustle and bustle. So this month I've picked Eastbourne. I haven't been Eastbourne, it's quite nice, coastal, you know, beautiful view, nice warm day, so I'm enjoying the sun, well, sunset. And yeah, make sure you check out the other videos I've got on the other book reviews. There's one here and one here, check them out, subscribe as well, and I'll see you on the channel for some more book reviews. Peace.